Is there a problem? Yes, there is a problem. And do we accept that there are issues? Yes, we do. And the question now is, are we ready to make the necessary reforms? Yes, that's what exactly we're doing. These problems were inherited, but as we say, government is in continuum. You know, like the president always says, you inherit assets, you inherit liabilities. I mean, that's what government is about. But for us to sit here and say there's just going to be like a magic wand, it's not going to happen. It's a process, okay? And that's why when we came on board, you realize that we decongested, and that figure, we reduced it by 5%, you know, by virtue of raising funds through the private sector for offenders, you know, fines and penalties. We're able to do that, and we reduced that by about 5%. And by doing that, we save government of about 1 billion naira annually in terms of feeding. Okay, we're able to do that. But we understood from day one that that was like a short-term thing. You know, that's not a sustainable thing. It's not what we can be doing every now and then. We have to talk about the institution, building a bigger institution, a better, a more solid institution. And that's what we're doing. And that's what led us to the committee that was set up. And we want to take our time. We are pending when the decision of the committee will come to reality. There will be fruition of the effort. We're doing our audits, we're putting our officers in check, and we're making sure that we're renovating correctional centers. If you get to Kuje Correctional Center, you will see the difference. Even if you go to the one in Nasarawa, Kefi, you'll see there. And so many other places, we're doing a lot of renovations, at least facelift, and to give our people better facilities, better conditions in the correctional center. There's a lot we're doing in that regard. But as we said, that is not the main solution. The main solution is to set up and look at the core issues. What are the issues? What are the factors? I personally believe that non-custodial measure is at the center of our solution. I personally believe that. For instance, I'll give you an example. When you look at it, you see that about 70% or above are awaiting trials, you know. And for me, and out of that 70-something percent, I tell you, more than 60% are non-violent awaiting trials. So I personally do not understand why a non-violent awaiting trial, maybe for loitering, for, you know, small offenses, traffic, different offenses, small things, you know, you lock them in Kuje prison, you know, pending when, you know, I sincerely think that if we have non-custodial measures, you know, those people that are still awaiting trial and are non-violent, you know, will not be locked up with hardened criminals, you know, where somebody goes, and that's the reason why you see the rate of recidivism is so high. You understand that people go into correctional center today for stealing yam. You know, the next time he goes into correctional center is for stealing car. The next time he goes after that is for carrying gun. The next one is terrorism. You know, so people get hardened more and more when they go, because we have to build a correctional system that is correctional, that is transformational, and of course that is rehabilitatory. That's are the things that we must look at. So in designing this, the non-custodial is at the center of it, because do not forget that the main difference between the Prison Service Act and the Correctional Service Act is this issue of non-custodial. And it's the importation of the non-custodial is what has changed the name for prisons, which is a place of incarceration, to correctional, a place of transformation and rehabilitation, a place of hope, a place where someone can actually go and get better. So we must now sit down and look at this non-custodial, you know, and I have told Correctional Service that in their 2025 budget, the idea of not putting any budget line in for non-custodial is not going to work for me, because we realized that when I came on board, we've seen all their budgets since 2019. I don't think they've ever provided a funding line, and by themselves. And the simple truth is, if government says, submit your budget proposal, it is what you submit to government. You're supposed to do your needs assessment. It's not the president that will come and do your needs assessment. As an agency, you do your needs assessment, you submit it to government. Upon that, the government looks at it, justifiably sends it to National Assembly for the appropriation process. So I have given that instruction already, that for 2025 budget, that non-custodial must be given reasonable allocation of resources, because that is the way forward, okay? That is because when these correctional centers were built, the question we should ask ourselves is, what was the plan? These correctional centers were built probably to take about 40,000 people. Also, today we have 80-something thousand people. So there's overcrowding. You need to get to Ikoyi in Lagos. You need to see. You need to get to Port Harcourt. But the simple truth is, these are structures. These are not policies. If it's a policy, you can issue policy overnight. But structures, if you want to build a real correctional center that will accommodate the 2,000 and something people in Port Harcourt, it's going to take you how many months? More than a year, roughly 2 years of solid work.
So why
to be able to do that?
Why so that is capacity is not working? Because the capacities have been on ground for quite a while.
Don't say that. You see, Victor, I will advise that we fact check, all right, before we make certain assertions. The 3,000 capacity, to the best of my knowledge, the only one that's been completed is the one in Kano.
I'm aware.
It's only the Kano that is actually, and it's actually working. I was there. I was in Kano earlier this year. I saw it. People are there. And of course, the other ones are. But what I'm even telling you is that even before we as a country sit down and start thinking of incarceration as a first resort, nobody does that. Incarceration is supposed to be the last resort. So the major thing in our review system, in our reform system, is for us to be able to sit down and say, hey, what is our transformation? What's our correction? What's our rehabilitation plan? At the end of that rehabilitation plan is incarceration, not at the beginning. And that is the reform. That's what we're trying to do within the next 1 year. So what I just want to tell you is that we are focused. We know what we need to do. We know what we have to do to be able to handle some of this. And we cannot do it just as Ministry of Interior. We have to work with Ministry of Justice. We have to work with the police. We have to work with judiciary. We have to work with all the government agencies and organs.
I was going to come there, because I know that even if you build 10,000 capacity in all the geopolitical zones,
that is my problem. Hold on, Victor. Hold on, Victor. That is exactly what I am saying. You're still repeating what I'm not comfortable with you repeating.
All right.
Hold on.
Let's pause for a break.
Just a moment. Just a minute.
Just a second. Is this? It's not about we building the incarceration centers. It's about the rehabilitation correctional plan. It's a whole chain. And we are putting incarceration at the front rather than at the last resort. And that is where we've gotten it wrong.
Valid point.
The Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is about reversing that trend and making sure that the proper chain is followed and adhered to in line with global best practice.
Thank you very much.